My name is David Daniel Ball, and these are the headlines for Saturday, the 21st of March 2009. A reminder for Queensland Election Day, remember to vote for the Liberal National Party for responsible government. Billion-dollar facelift for Opera House. Families of Bali 9 tell their stories. Bligh's narrow gap in race for Queensland's top job. Australian Indigenous health getting worse, survey reports. 14-year-old arrested after high-speed chase. Appeals court refuses Madoff bail. Afghanistan unrest kills 70 according to officials. Polls open for Razor's Edge Queensland election in which corrupt ALP government are projected to win. Fair Work bill farewells work choices and welcomes union excess. Obama, the great communicator, Special Olympics gag falls flat. And in comments, policy dictated not by the head but by the headlines. Prime Minister Kevin Rudd promised an era of evidence-based policy, but so far most of what we've seen has been about headlines, according to Alan Jones. And from Piers, Akerman's sanctimonious arrogance led to Einfeld's downfall. A 2-year minimum sentence is barely enough time for the disgraced former federal court judge Marcus Einfeld to consider his fall from grace. I have to side with Piers here too. In taking that view, I considered the testimony of the Newling inquiry into Cabramatta, which showed remarkable similarities to my testimony I've not yet been able to bring before Parliament or a court of law. The item is a minor item, the transgression is not. In much the same way, I'd feel the same were an Attorney General to do the previously accepted activity of releasing criminals early because mob bosses needed them to do a job, or if a drunken driver left a hospital with their own blood in an evidence bag. In fact, in the case of the latter two, I'd vote out the government that accepted it. Queensland gets votive by Tim Blair. Under former Premier Joh Bjelke-Petersen, Queensland has lost the right to march and the right to public assembly. Under former Premier Peter Beattie, they lost the right to smoke in pubs. It's clear which of these is the greater loss to a vibrant and inclusive democracy. Have you ever heard anyone say, "I'm dying for a march," or "Can I borrow a demonstration, mate?" And how many times have you heard this? "Where's Dave? His drink is getting warm. Oh, he just stepped outside for a quick public assembly." Suffer! Just 1 week from Earth Hour, also featuring Hour of Powerful Illumination festivities, environmentalism takes another hit. For the first time in Gallup's 25-year history of asking Americans about trade-off between environmental protection and economic growth, a majority of Americans say economic growth should be given the priority, even if the environment suffers to some extent. Comedians resist change. Mainstream satirists still struggle for a comedic hook into Barack Obama. Teleprompter addiction might be a start. The Arc of L. Within 5 years, Elle Macpherson went from promoting Tab to promoting Miller Lite. Certain thematic consistencies were observed, however. Only a nuance. Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano dispenses with term terrorism. I refer to man-made disasters. This is perhaps only a nuance, but it demonstrates that we want to move away from politics of fear towards a policy of being prepared for all risks that can occur. Mark Stein has already noted the Obama's regime decision to call enemy combatants something other than enemy combatants. Stein's suggestion, future Facebook friends. It's obvious that we'll need a whole new lexicon to replace many words and phrases found unpleasant by Obama and his ever so slowly incoming administration. Out, axis of evil. In, cuddle buddies. Out, jihad. In, jeepers. Out, suicide bomber. In, carbon reductionist. Out, fundamentalist Islam. In, Islam is fun. Out, beheading. In, behugging. We could have used a few gentle alternative terms during the Bush years. Out, waterboarding. In, punky dunking. But chances are they wouldn't have caught on. Seriously, this photograph won $25,000. In an update, as it happens, $25,000 is the exact price for a repellent dog man sculpture. Also in Sydney, this must be a standard unit in the art world. Good question. Why, asks Rupert Murdoch, do we never hear calls for Hamas leaders to be charged with war crimes? Prez raises awareness of Down Syndrome Day. Wisecracking Barack makes with the spaz gags during his Leno appearance. Treacher has more from Obama's raucous routine. You'll have to see that at the link. Cartoony views, newsreader and insect worshipper Kent Brockman. I've said it before and I'll say it again, democracy just doesn't work. And Warminist and Obama worshipper James Hansen, the democratic process doesn't quite seem to be working. Justice for justice, ticket-dodging justice, Mark Einfeld is off to prison for at least 2 years. The lying living national treasure was brought down by the Daily Telegraph's Michael Beach. England gets tough. Osaka Miyako Hayashi wanted to marry her British fiancé in England, but new rules introduced to curb the immigration of Pakistani child brides forced a change of plan. Community self-sustaining. Headline of the week, polar bears shrinking, eating each other due to global warming. From AC, who emails, the concept of miniature cannibalistic polar bears really made my day. Never mind what Turnbull actually said, writes Andrew Bolts. Laurie Oakes goes after Malcolm Turnbull again. Minister in Kevin Rudd's government were quite appreciative of a Jones interview with Malcolm Turnbull last Thursday. However, it fitted neatly into the narrative that Labour is building about the federal Liberal leader. Politics may be in part about perceptions, but shouldn't reporting be about facts? Why is Oakes treating as a gotcha a Labour line which he admits may be a bum rap? One he says, it is true, was contradicted by Turnbull's own statements. This is strange. Seemingly good, ending jobs. Labour cheers as jobs are destroyed before its very eyes. So much for Obama's ethical revolution. Barack Obama's picks are becoming more farcical by the day. Consider this his Halliburton, only this time with a real scandal behind the slogan. Obama administration Special Envoy Richard Holbrooke was on the American International Group Inc. board of directors in early 2008 when the insurance company locked in the bonuses, now stoking national outrage. Holbrooke, a veteran diplomat who is now the administration's point man on Pakistan and Afghanistan, served on the board between 2001 and mid-2008. Orange alert, are some professional alarmists just looking for stuff to ban? Netball Queensland bans oranges at halftime. If Pakistan now falls to the Taliban, Raji Omar returns to Pakistan and warns that we may soon face a terror nation more deadly than any Islamist force before it. One of these women is Aboriginal. This new racism is becoming farcical from Queensland election. Not one protester turned up to the event kicked off by Coomera candidate Leanne Enoch, the first Indigenous woman pre-selected for a winnable seat by the ALP, acknowledging the traditional owners of the land. Contradict a Green at your peril? Confront a Green zealot and you should be hauled up for persecuting a religious minority. Government gives Melbourne not water but mud. To think they built this disaster instead of a dam on a river that twice flooded last year. And making Bush look brilliant. And when Barack Obama finally tries winging it without his teleprompter towards the end of his approximately 40-minute appearance, the president talked about how he's gotten better at bowling and has been practicing in the White House bowling alley. Can you imagine the uproar if silly old Bush had said this? Or given the British Prime Minister lousy DVDs that didn't even work at home? Or kept picking tax cheats? Or could barely speak without a teleprompter? Or signed an unprecedented $500,000 book deal as he assumed office? No class to Rudd's class war. The vicious and unprincipled bash of the fat cats campaign unleashed by the Rudd government has already had its critics.